Hi, this is Chetan and welcome to CSS Dev and UX. Today we'll be talking about CSS is selector. CSS is selector, to put it simply, allows you to write your large selectors into a compact, simple form that's easier to understand. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's just take this example of an H3 tag that may live in various places in your DOM. It may be on the outer level element, it may be inside a section, which is this area. It may be in a section within a section and in n number of areas. To simplify it, I've just mentioned level 1 H3 tag, level 2 and level 3. So you know where to target it. So let me just clean this up so that we can begin from scratch. So what I want to do is style the H3 tag, the font size of the H3 tag differently depending on which level it is. So the root level would always be 36 pixels. In case it's inside a section or an article or an aside, I want it to be 24 pixels. Okay, so it changed, but this also changed. Now if it's in the third level, that means it's within a section, inside a section, or an article within a section, or an aside in a section. So if the H3 tag is in any of these three locations, then I want the font size to be 14 pixels. So this changed. Okay, but now here if you see, there are three attributes. So the permutation and combination would be, I've covered section, article, section, aside. Now I have to do it for same thing for article. Cool. Also, I'll have to do this for aside. So you can see I have to compute it in my head. It's not that simple. I have to think of all permutations, combination and mention everywhere. So as you keep nesting your code, the selectors becomes large and it's a bit tricky to keep track of it. So this is level 0, this is level 1 and this is level 2. And how we would do it in is selector is, what I want is, first I'll just write the is selector and parentheses will accept the arguments. The arguments are all the tags that I want to target. So the first tag is section, second tag is aside, third tag is article. And if there is an H3 inside any of these three tags, then I want the font size to reduce to 24 pixels. Cool. So this worked. Now how do I target the inner elements where it started getting a bit tricky? First I have to write section, aside, article. So if it's any of these three, and I would actually repeat this because I want, if it's section inside a section, if it's aside inside a section, if it's article inside a section, and same for the other two parameters. And if the H3 is within a section, inside or aside, or any of these permutations combination, I want the font size to reduce to 14 pixels. Cool. So it's very easy to understand if you write it this way. Now you can imagine if you go more levels deep, let's say level 3, level 4, it may get more complex, so where is selector can become very easy to understand. Similarly here, in another example, we have a unordered list where there is first level, this second level, and then this third level. And if you notice, the third level, the list styling is numerical. It's 1 2 1 2, right? So I want it not to be numbered but a bit different. So of course we can again do it in the normal CSS style, but this is a place where the is selector can become very handy, especially if it's 2 levels or 3 levels or further in. First write the is tag, then accept the arguments, which is if it's a unordered list or an ordered list, then again an is tag, and all the list items in it, I want the list style to be circle. Oh, I want the UL to be, yeah. Okay. So I want the unordered list or the ordered list, which is 3 levels in, to be a circle. Another key difference of the isSelector compared to the normal CSS is the normal CSS is pretty strict, and isSelector, the arguments can be a bit lenient. So even if one of the arguments inside the parentheses is invalid, it would still not discard the overall snippet. It would just discard the invalid argument. So let me uncomment this part and explain you what I mean. So if you read the CSS here, it is if it's a link or a first child or a pseudo class called inRange, which basically tells you if an input value is in a prescribed range or not. So all these are valid selectors, and these are all global level. So I have just added a very distinguishing change, which is color yellow. So this looks hideous, but it does the job. So all these are valid selectors. Now let's say I do a typo, or for some reason one of the selectors isn't valid in one of the browsers. So let's say I do a typo here, and now even though link and first child is valid, inRanges is not valid, hence all the 3 becomes invalid. So since this is a typo here, this is not a valid, and these 2 are valid, and the color is yellow, all 3 are accounted as invalid, and none of the properties apply to nothing. If I make it valid again, you see it's applying. So let me comment this and try to do the same thing with the isSelector. So isSelector, I've essentially done the same thing. If it's a link or a first child of anything, or if it is in range, then have the color as green, which you can see is happening here. Now let me add the same typo here, and let me change the color to red. So even though this last one is invalid, it just discards a single argument and still accepts the valid argument. So it is just a bit lenient. Even if you make mistakes, it will still look at the first 2 arguments as valid one and apply the stylings for those. So that's another advantage you have by using isSelector over normal selectors. Okay, let's just clean up the file a bit so that it looks a bit more neat, and I'll add this CodePen link in the description of this video, so in case you want to refer it, you can. So I hope you guys understood the main advantages of the isSelector, and now that you know, you should make good use of it. If you found this video helpful, please give a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos on CSS and UX. And if you feel this, if you have any doubts about this video, please leave a comment. You can find the CodePen link in the description, and please check out my other videos. And leave comments if you have a suggestion for some other things that you'd like me to cover.